But I just ask that people listen to one another, right? Because we're here to, learn, and we are going to have different opinions. Because I can tell you my opinion changes every single time I have a conversation. So who wants to get it started off? Like, do people become less black as they become wealthy?
Could I add one? Can we assume best intentions?
Yes.
We want to know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's funny that you say that, and I just want to chime in because it's funny. I think about a conversation that we had when I was in college, and I graduated in '89 to go to school. And at this time, comedy show was at its height. And one of the major topics that came when we were in Black Studies was the comedy show was reality. Now that was the funniest thing ever to me because I was like, what the hell think people? But we in college, like it's one thing you dealing with folks who you thinking lacking some awareness.
Right.
But when you sit there talking, you throwing college students, and they said the comedy show was reality. But one of the funniest things ever is because again, that needs to be a major debate.
Yeah.
But one of my right-hand men named John Edney from Holbrook, Long Island. His mother and father was actually the Cosby Show in reverse.
Yes.
So his mother was a doctor and his father was a lawyer. And I believe that's the reverse.
Yes.
And so he used to sit back and just in the cut. So we used to have people and they'd be adamant. Because again, I went to a SUNY school, so it was people from all New York. So people was adamant about the fact that that wasn't reality. And I touched upon that because, again, when you sit there talking about concept of somebody being real or not, you have to go where somebody's perspective of being real. Because at the end of the day, being real is like a money, being from the hood. Yes. It's black folks who have been prosperous and did things for
forever.
And they are real, some of the realest people ever. Not CJ Walker, you can go on, you can start going down with those who don't have wealth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Throughout the years.
Right.
But now you don't say they're not real.
I think part of that, people be saying they're not real, like, yeah, I changed, and that's part of what my whole brand is about. People start talking about that, like, oh, you changed, you being brand new, you doing this, you doing that. I did all this work because I was supposed to. You know, we all have to be reformed.
Yes.
It's a difference when I didn't have nothing and I was still building and on my grind. Yeah, we could be at the club fighting and I'll slap a hoe, but now
you got some value that you will lose if you
yes,
you got too much to lose.
You literally have too much to lose. And when you like, I have no problem with going back on the block, going back to the hood, going back on the east side of Detroit. Like you said, we got all these different parts of our family. Them fools about to be smoking weed, so no, I'm not wearing no $700 cashmere sweater, and I know that natural fabrics are gonna hold the weed smell. I got somewhere to go after.
That leaves you unbalanced because you know both.
You have to be balanced because at the end of the day, I'ma still roll with y'all. We can ride, but if some junk pop off and somebody like, okay, we gonna beat the brakes off of whoever when we get sued.
Right.
Nobody else has assets to actually lose. Or if we lose that lawsuit, I'm gonna be the one paying. And at the end of the day, you talking about being real, like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and be 100. I'm not paying to F somebody up. No.
Right.
I'm gonna end up paying the ticket for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather pay the ticket for everybody for us to take a flight and be on vacay.
Exactly.
I just read this meme that said, I like to fight, but I don't like the consequences. Like, don't get it twisted. I still want to fight.
Well, so I have a sister. I have a sister that we are complete opposites. I'm the one that, to that point, she's like, you've made money, you've changed. I'm like, no, I'm still that girl from Bed-Stuy that will slap like the bricks out of you. However, I've learned control, and I have composure, and I have children that are going to HBCUs and trying to do jobs because I am their legacy, and I'm opening up doors for them. My sister is the same, 2 years younger than me, and she just got arrested for slapping a bitch and beating her in the parking lot. I'm like, why are you calling me for bail money? Like, you have children, and so there's a level of understanding that when you've transcended to a level where you've gone through that struggle and you've put yourself in spaces where you're on LinkedIn and you are now on bios and you're on TV and you now represent not just yourself, which is your brand, your family, but you represent us, because I don't care any room I step into, I know I'm representing my people. It doesn't mean that I don't know you. Whatever comes out of my mouth, those other people who are not us are judging us, like, oh, you speak so well, and you become the
You're so
other.
articulate.
Yes, and you become the other that now they've opened up a door for you. Well, you open that door for me, I know that I'm also putting my foot right back there to let my other sister or brother come in behind me. And so I think that's the level where I think some people get caught up with keeping it real. And I'm like, I grew up in Bedside Brooklyn. In Brownstones, there were doctors and lawyers all up and down Crown Heights, Flatbush. People act like if the Cosby was a fake thing. No, I stepped to the different world. I went to after school. We talked about college. All that happened in our community because that was real. And I'm here because that was the example that was set for us. And I think some people get lost in that, oh, they didn't have examples. We sure do.
Well, it makes me sad though that there's such a huge segment of our population who thought it was unrealistic. Like Cosby Show wasn't real. I'm like, you need to know that
is very real.
that exists. But I think a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
It's all about exposure.
You gotta see it.
You do have to see it.
Yeah, but I don't think you always have to see it to believe it. I didn't grow up in that. I grew up in a town that's 96.3% white.
Oh,
yes.
So yes, I know the percentage.
Ooh.
Yes. So, but I believed it. I didn't. It wasn't my experience, but it wasn't out of the realm of what I
The
could
possibility.
believe. Right? Couldn't be real. But people say I'm not really. Growing up. Oh, you're not really black. Listen how you talk. I mean, what was I supposed to do if that was my environment? How was I supposed to be or exist or talk? What does keeping it real mean to me?
And that's
why
what
I'm not less black just because that's how I grew
And
up.
I think that's a thing that has been done to divide us, where you hear people say she ain't really down or she ain't really real, and I'm like, people are fighting the same fight just at different levels.
Yes.
Can we be individuals? Because at the end of the day, I was given life and breath for me. I wasn't given. I don't have a twin. I don't have. I wasn't
That's
given
where the
life
community
and
part be biting us in the butt. Because as soon as you don't assimilate for community, then you're not allowed to be an individual.
I don't think that black people have the luxury of being individuals.
No, but we are those things.
No, we
That's
are
true.
individuals, but I don't think we have the luxury of
afforded-
being
we're not
individuals.
We carry the community everywhere we
We're not
go.
afforded the luxury.
Everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I was telling this to some white women because they were so hurt because the 92% is like, we ain't messing with y'all.
Yeah,
right?
right.
And I said, y'all are now feeling what black people feel. We're judging all of you. They're like, but no, I didn't vote for Trump. I said, but yeah, see, black people, when one of us does something, y'all judge all of us. I said, now with y'all for the first time in your lives, because when y'all's kids would shoot up schools, they'd be like, well, little Timmy had a bad so-and-so or whatever. And I was like, now it's like, white people shoot up schools. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So I think that things have changed now. Because of that, about this. Okay, but back to where we started about, can you get so wealthy that you're not down anymore? I want to know what y'all think. Like,
I think you can be disconnected.
I would say that you said about control, right?
Yeah, like-
and I like what you said about having something. Because my mama always said, do not hang out with anybody who has less than you to live.
To look.
Yes.
Because it's right.
If we do understand,
Yes.
I'm going through this divorce.
I didn't have
No, seriously, there's a lot of situations where I'm like, why didn't I think of my mom?
Right.
But I think people take that to mean something, and what it really is it's about kind of what you all were talking about at the beginning. It's putting yourself in a space where you were thoughtful about where you are and what you've achieved and what you have to lose, and it's not just you. And so I think, for those of us who have moms or dads that said that, I think they were thinking about the fact that we know in our community, when you make it to a certain point, there is a level of envy and there's a level of distrust and disrespect that doesn't quite make sense, and that's why sometimes we don't come together and we don't thrive. Because if you look at like in traditional Indian families, like they will come and they will move into one house with 20 people until they each get a home, right? Like Latinos do that as well, and we get like, well, he ate my cheese and he ate my that's what we're focused on. Like we're focused on capital building, like we're focused on saving so that we can all get a piece of it. So I think it's just I feel like it's such a valid comment, because young people should be thinking like that. Like, we need our young people to be thinking like that more. But there's something about, like,
once you kind of are here, somehow you are separate. And it's like, no, I'm still the same person. I just happen to have 3 degrees. I chose to get 3 degrees because that's the path I chose to take. I'm not better than my
But see,
cousins
you
that have
have
no
that though,
education.
because we do have to admit that we do get bougified. Because I
Oh
don't.
no, I will not do regular seats somewhere.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. My thing always in life has been, like the people I hang with regularly are successful but regular. I always say, because I don't like you have to be, you gotta be down. Like, we're not trying to fight. But at the same time, I always get annoyed when black people are like, oh, and then, you know, you know, in DC kind of can do that. That gets on my nerves, because I'm like, all of us are like, most of us are one generation away, but 2 generations where I was cleaning college days with my grandma. I was, you know, I got family members that got as many roaches as we have people. I mean, and I'm not embarrassed by that. Like, yes, and so I'm like, when it gets so lost that I'm like, okay, there is a distance in a way that kind of annoys me. I like for people to be like, bougie ghetto bougie, or you know, bougie ghetto.
What even counts as being bougie though? Because like when you think about it, some stuff
Look, when you
is
talk about
regular
your cashmere sweater,
standard.
that's a little bougie, but I like it.
No, it's not. It's a very high quality.
They do, and that's my thing. I feel like we move the goalposts on what bougie is, because when you really think about it, and this is what I would tell my friends, because I had this whole thing about like, this is how I want to get married, this is what I want my life to look like, and it's like, that's too much. Why do you need all that? That's such a high expectation. You shouldn't. And I'm like, but if I was a white woman, would you be saying that I want too much?
Exactly.
Because for them,
that is their standard.
but every time we do something, and it's not just black women, fellas included, every time y'all do something, every time we do something, why can't you just want to go to Capitol Grill to chill? Why do that have to be bougie? Why can't you just like Fogo de Chao? Why can't you just want to go to Napa Valley and ride the wine train? Because why is that bougie?
And speaking of bougie, there's chicken wings. Please help yourself with some chicken
Well,
wings.
listen, I buy a special soap for my cashmere. It doesn't go to the laundry. There's a whole procedure. and I'm saying that my mom, so I have this saying that I say, I am my grandmother's wildest dream.
Absolutely.
My mother's dream that did not come true.
Yes.
And I am my children's every possibility.
Yes.
So for me,
Wait,
Yes, that's a good one. That's a great
because I still
quote.
live like it's gonna be a meme and everything.
I'm working on it. I can put it up at the school.
I received this award like 2 years ago. It's called the Woman of Valor, and the award is given to women because I work in corporate real estate. Women who give back, and I do a lot of things with students, and I do stuff for the community. And so when I got this award, and I was thinking I had to like make a thank you speech, and I thought about like I am a 3rd generation of women who came to this country. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Central America, and I have shifted the generational trauma, the generational finance, the expectations, and the wealth of my family in ways that I never thought I could when I was that 7-year-old girl getting in a plane, coming to Brooklyn, New York, and never knowing what U.S. whatever is. And so I say that because in that sense of where I am in my life right now, I recently divorced, and I'm like having this conversation with my girlfriends of like, my standard of living when I was married was A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Why am I downgrading myself for a man who can't move the way I move? If I want to go somewhere, I'm going. And that's not being bougie. That's not being out of. I have worked really hard to get to the place where I could buy my plane ticket. I could buy my box seat wherever I need to be because that's the comfortability that I want.
I don't think bougie is a bad word.
It's not, because it's a standard that you set for yourself. And I saw this quote that said, sometimes we're pushing the goals, but maybe because you've exceeded that goal, now you're seeing something else. And we should always see the goal post moving for ourselves. So I'm at a certain place in my life, like I had my meeting with my boss on my annual review. He's like, you're a senior manager. I was like, yes. And then there's director, and then there's VP, and then there's SVP, and there's MD. I'm not there yet.
Right.
I'm still on that. He's like, you're not satisfied? I was like, no. Why should
And
I
why
be?
should
Why she be?
Why should you be satisfied?
If you were a man,
If you were a man,
you would
ask that question.
You wouldn't have said it to a man.
I'm in education. I'm in education, and I'm a counselor, and they're like,
It's National
so-
Counselors Week.
Oh, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you for all you do.
And we need y'all.
Now we can say
So
that out
I'm
loud
just
before we
real
get
quick.
to
So we're sitting there, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I was like, whatever. And they're like, why are you not into administration? I'm like, no, that's too many politics, blah blah blah. So I said, they're like, yeah, but what is your nickname? And they're like, Petty Pettigrew. No, Petty Pettigrew policy and procedure. Because now I'm like, nah, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. That's not what it says for my brown babies.
Exactly.
Right.
And I love your story because I work in an Esau school. So you talking about coming here, being an immigrant, and doing all that, but you still have your values. Because let me tell you, just today, I had to tell a brother of his sister, you cannot talk to her like that because it's different.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Because sometimes I think I'm like, am I there just for a check? And I'm like, no.
You're
I
like
get
that.
that.
No.
You know, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, but you go, and I will tell you right now, I had to get my transcripts because I'm going back for my admin.
Yes.
They need you. Wait, we need you. Thank you for that.
Because you used to be in education, so you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, you know.
Okay, so real quick, I do have to talk about Snoop for a second because I just want y'all to say it was not on my bingo card, but Snoop responded to my post about him. And this year it has been like Cardi B responded, but she was nice. We had a nice exchange. But then Snoop and I were fighting. No, we weren't fighting. But I had just written about how I thought that he sold out.
Yes.
I wasn't not appreciate what he did. And particularly because, and I didn't say it in a disrespectful
You don't
way.
have a choice.
But what I'd like to know from you, do you think that, why do you think he did it? Do you think that he has become, now that he's working with Martha Stewart and doing the Olympics, that he lost himself? Because remember in 2017, he said, anybody who will perform for Trump, right. So,
No, he didn't lose
I
himself.
want to hear what y'all to say about Snoop.
My apologies.
No,
And the only
it's
reason I
fine.
say, I'm totally agreeing with you.
Yeah.
But when I told folks when I first seen it, I laughed. Because Harry O was Snoop's partner in Death Row. Like Harry O was the founder of Death Row Records. Trump partnered Harry O. So Snoop didn't have a choice. That wasn't a question.
I don't believe that.
It was. Well, I'm gonna say this to you again. You don't have to believe it, but I'm gonna tell you that conversation like this.
But what was Nelly's excuse?
Oh no, we need some money. But I'm saying, and I'm not making
Did he
excuses.
just get arrested?
But Harry O
You might need
was
to start
something
it.
like this.
He got arrested for that.
But he had already been partnered.
Nelly, boy.
And Snoop is at such a different level. I mean, no, I'm hearing your perspective.
But you understand, even though it appears you're at different levels,
Yeah.
it's sometimes always
Somebody still own you.
And you
That
think
got
he
you to that
did?
level.
You think he did?
Oh, that
I was looking for
Harry O got partnered.
I
That wasn't even a
It just
conversation.
didn't fit for Snoop to be.
Me neither, because he's making money.
He has money.
He has money.
So he's always still getting.
Listen, he made money off the Olympics. Like,
Even
we're
with
good.
the Martha
We're
Stewart,
good.
I never.
Everybody was loving you globally.
Yes.
Was not
Ivan Boy.
still
He didn't need to
black.
do it.
So it was confusing to me as to why he did it. 'Cause I
Because he
couldn't-
said in 2017 that anything he did was a substance.
Right.
But I also think that Trump
That
plays
makes
that
sense to
game
me.
with
Like, I can
rappers.
buy that.
Of course.
He
Yeah.
played that game with
Yeah, he knows that.
He strategically is targeting certain black people in entertainment or connected to entertainment because you got to think about it. We see the front face. We see the people that are famous. They're connected by quiet business, the part that we don't dig into, to so many other people. when you really do start to his point, when you dig into the connections that these people have behind closed doors, like the reason why Wayne was on his side, he expunged part of Wayne's record to keep him back out of Rikers. Like some of the same stuff, even though it's unrelated, but like the way that they used to be dragging meat. If you really watch the documentary, some of the stuff that he was doing, he did not have no choice. Because before they got famous, you could be famous as you want to be. That money ain't gonna stop that record that you have. It's not gonna automatically, some things you cannot buy your way out of it. Clive's been trying for the past 15, 20 years to buy his brother out of prison. Master P is how rich and he still can't buy C Murder out of prison. So some of that stuff, he in the right people circles and in the right people pockets, that he is using some of the rappers that are influential to us, he using them against us so that we will turn on them.
I do agree with that.
And it made to create chaos. Because one thing that I said this year,
to further develop
the chaos that he's creating,
exactly.
the chaos that he's creating is creating an emotional reaction in our communities that's keeping us misguided. The one thing I said to my friend this year, I said, listen, these people do not care about our emotions. They don't care about nothing. We've seen the blueprint. They wrote Project 2025. They cleared the way. They told you what they wanted to do. So put your big girl panties on, your big boy panties on, because our ancestors have done this before. So take the emotion out of it and let's strategize and go back to the grassroots movements. Because when we talk about the Cosbys, those first black lawyers and doctors that we had in the ghetto when nobody wanted to come there, those people came from something. We saw what they did. So why can't we move in that same matter and leave him over there with his craziness and all the people who voted for him? Get your auntie and uncle supported. I'm good over here. I got two passports.
We can do that because I was raised that you have to be better than white people. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
No matter what. My son thinks I'm racist. Whatever.
That's still today.
But our kids were not raised that way. My son was born in 2009. So all he knows is Obama. I honestly think that's like a disjustice to our kids. Because they're like, there's no thing as racism, Mom.
Yeah.
Mom, what do you mean? Why is everything black and white? Because it is, no matter what I'm black.
But let me say this to you. I was the same way for a while. That I thought my mom and dad, I thought they were like, what's wrong with y'all? You know, Sally is my friend.
So she calls you the N-word.
And not that Sally wasn't my friend, but the very sad reality about raising children is that life learns you, right? And they do have those moments where they're like, you know, I always tell people, I wrote an article one time and it said, you know, I don't know, everyone has ever heard before when they say, has had a white person say it down. Well, you're not really black.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're different?
Yes.
So I said, for me to have a white friend, I need to be able to say, well, you're not really white. You're different. Where this white supremacy ideology has not infiltrated you so badly, and you're willing to learn and listen to me. That's the only way we can be friends, and that's rare. Like, so how you thought I was rare, I gotta think you're rare to actually mess with you for real, right? Because life is going, sadly, life is going to
50 years, I needed that.
You know, sadly, because, you know, what's happening right now. So this is a similar question to what we were just talking about with the question is talented 10. Who? Talented 10. Yes. Yes, we're going to talk about talented 10. Yeah. Do you feel, and this is going to take some honesty, do you feel different, separate, superior from some black people? And explain. Let's see the question again. Do you feel different, separate, superior from some black people?
So I would say different, not superior, not better, but definitely different. So I worked at Howard at the law school, and I have to use the talented 10th a lot because our applicant pool is strong, and we have a small class, and I have to tell many people that look like me that you need to have multiple choices. Like this can't be your only choice because I am not going to be able to give you all this wonderful opportunity. And so I talk about the talented, like I say, like, so if you've heard about that, they are all applying here. Right. And so I want y'all to spread your wings because I want you all to become lawyers because we need you. We need your creativity, we need your brilliance, you know, but y'all can't end up here. And so, like, you know, when the Supreme Court case happened in 2023, everyone expected that, you know, the influx. There are only 6 HBCU law schools out of the 198, you know, ABA law schools. And people didn't realize that, but everyone kept saying, like, oh, it's fine because everyone could just send their students to the HBCU. We don't have room.
There's nowhere near enough.
Even
They trying to come out of law
And to
school
make
here.
their experience what we want it to be so that they come out as empowered and as thoughtful and as creative as we want them to be, because we want them to have that love, that
sense of
vision,
being,
that sense of being special that they don't get in PWIs. And in this way, we can't be that big. And so I do think that there is this idea that they're not superior, but they come away with a confidence. And they come away with a way of understanding how to be in very white spaces that they don't get in other places. And so I'll give 2 quick examples. So one, I saw some of my first years after my first class there, and I was checking in. And so usually I can tell my new students by week 6, because the first 2-3 weeks they all look cute and all hair done. By week 6, hat to the back, ponytail.
It's on the puppet. It's on the puppet. Hey, game up.
Like, well, Dean Simmons, like, you know, remember everyone kept saying it was going to be hard, and so this one professor in particular, like, she is hard, but she opened up the class with, here's who I am, here's the syllabus, here's what's going to happen. Let's pray together, and then let's get to work. And they're like, yeah, she got in us. Like, she doesn't take it easy on us. But I was like, so that's the difference, right?
That's a hell of a thing right there. Wow.
The other story was just simply about being at a space where they got to have these conversations about what was happening in the world, and not being afraid that if they brought up the fact that was this race, was this gender, was this class, that people are going to be like, oh God, we're talking about race again. They get to be in this space where they have majority people that look like them, again, talented tip, to have these really deep conversations about maybe your water is tainted in Michigan because of the line between
Wait, hold on. Just the Flint water, Detroit water is a whole separate water.
Right?
Now there's a Great Lake, but I don't know what y'all putting in
Man,
it.
that Great Lake is wild right there.
For
Flint to get
for
that.
them to understand that they are special, and so there's nothing wrong with the idea that we think you're special. You're not better, right? But you're special, and you have a different responsibility, though.
Let me speak to that. I want to big up you two queens for being unapologetically parents. We do have to be better than other people, even still today, and it's not fair, you know. And the talented tip, by making them go there, children don't understand. Parenting is important. When they don't understand, you have to put them in the right places to be successful. Unapologetically, if they don't understand, they will eventually. Like you, Randy. Once they get to a certain age, people change. You know, but the talented.
She got that message real quick, like, oh,
Yeah.
I see why you did what you
Absolutely,
did.
and they come back and
That
tell
first
you.
semester home,
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving, she was like, I see why you did what you did.
And don't that feel good as a parent? Because they don't want to give you your flowers. But what I wanted to tell you is the burden. The talented tip is important. You know, that is why Trump has so much support. Because only 10% of them got sense, and the other ones are soldiers. And they follow his rule. So we have to take that same mentality. You got something?
This is bringing back 2 questions. What is amazing is that you just said the other ones are soldiers. It goes back to the question we just had when we get separate. Do we separate ourselves so others will not be soldiers because we're mad at each other?
We cannot afford to.
You know what I think? How they
But I believe it's a natural line that exists in manner, because you will have soldiers, you will have the ones who thought. But see, the thing about it is we don't address it and utilize it in our manner to benefit us. See, the thing is, they exist because everybody gonna naturally fall to where they want to be. At the end of the day, that's where I go with individuals. We all got our roles, but who gonna play their roles, and then for us to appreciate it, to build and grow with it.
Exactly.
It's all right to have soldiers. Everybody ain't got to be the person. But we don't respect the soldiers sometimes. Sometimes the soldiers have nots. But we need them to build.
But I need to.
So, hold on, my sister. I have always found that the people who don't talk a lot got something profound to say. So I want you to take a second to say, because I know you're thinking. So I need you to say something because you ain't saying anything yet. Now, this is the equivalent of a class when they say,
We call you in.
I used to be a teacher.
Okay. As far as the second question, or the
Whatever
first
you
one?
want to say.
I think the idea of blackness is something that I thought we would have delved into a little bit more.
No, we are.
But what I do think, as far as like something that ties us together, is that community. And I think one of the things that we have to think about, as no matter how high we get or how successful we get, is the people that are at the bottom, because they are, unfortunately, I don't think we're individuals. They are so a reflection of us. And unless the most oppressed of us are liberated, then the most successful of us aren't.
And I agree 1,000%. So, but how do we? So I just, every conversation we have to me is about blackness. So they were all made in the strain of what affects our blackness. So when it comes to blackness and us building a community, because that's why these conversations existed for me. That's where my purpose and passion was. How do we bridge that gap? Because I feel as if we have such separations within our community by class, by colorism, by the slave Atlantic transit. People try to differentiate themselves. I'm like, it was just a bus stop. I'm really like, it was just a different bus stop. Like, so how do we? Because you want people to know, like, yes, I may like my cashmere sweater, but I'm down. I'm here. I want to whatever. Like, how do we bridge that gap? Because the question we started out with is, do people lose their blackness as they become more wealthier? I don't think the people who are becoming wealthier think they do, but I definitely think the people who are still struggling at the bottom absolutely do not identify and think that we have.
I think it's an aspect of celebrating each aspects of blackness, all the differences. Because I think what happens when we say community, we all automatically think all the same. But the fact is, there are different representations of us. Like a lot of the comments that I've been hearing, I'm like, well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I was like, is this what kind of blackness is this? That's that we are. So it's just also about celebrating and making sure that voices are heard within it, because it's not.
But that's what I want, which is why I forced you to talk. And the reason why I did Truthing was because on the show, but all the Truthing sessions I've had, usually there's such a diversity. Because I want the brother who, is working, a job that doesn't start till 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and he takes the bus and there's a struggle and he has 2 kids and all this, to hear that the brother who is the lead attorney at so-and-so is struggling in his office too. Like white people he feels like white people are holding him down too. And so there is this like kinship, like, we in this blackness, this whatever this is together, and it's not that we are, it may look different, but it's the same. And so that literally was the purpose of it. And even when I did the show, I had to argue with people because they're like, we want you to have names, we want you to this. I said, no, I want the bus driver, and I want the person who takes the bus, and I want the person who owns the bus company.
That's it.
Well, that's what President Obama did. He did a show on Netflix.
I love
that. So good. Where he went from the cleaning people to the desk workers to the managers to the supervisor to the owners of the company, so that they could all see basically your struggle's the same, but to show the different aspects. But that's also in a way the different aspects of blackness. That's who we are. The problem is some here don't like those up there don't like those down here. I saw a license plate when I first moved here. I've never forgotten it. Black people unite, and that is our problem. We are just not united. You talk about Indian families that bring their families together, but the black folks are fighting over some cheese. My name was on that mayonnaise and you used it and stuff. So our blackness is in levels.
Can I just say one thing?
Do you think though that part of the problem that are just thinking about, but one of the reasons why the Republican Party does so well is because they have gazillionaires talk about eggs, even though gazillionaire does not know how much eggs are.
I've never been in a grocery store. Never been in a grocery store.
We don't talk about eggs cost $12, y'all. I may have the $700 cashmere sweater, but I don't want to pay those $12 for no eggs. You know what I mean? Like we don't talk. I
have a thought about that. We have something to say.
Well, one of the things the sister touched upon, and what I always wonder, one thing is that love the person in the mirror. Like if you love the person in the mirror,
That's
a
why
lot of
I'm
our issues will go away. Because again, it's not about loving you because you got money. It's because what I see and all I see. And to talk about individualism is one of the things when I talk about individualism is like this. When you talk about individualism, that means you're a duality. So what I think about individualism is I know I'm a duality. So I physically exist, but what matters most and where my collective come from is my spirit. See, as my spirit gave me life, I grow there. But physically, I manifest as an individual. So what I express individually does matter because again, at the end of the day, y'all need my physical expression. That's why I was given life. But my collective go from with the spirit within. So we all unified there. But given life to express. That's why I use the term individual, that we all individuals, because we given life to make sure we manifest. The Creator gave us life.
Yes.
But even Jesus was like the Messiah, and he came on earth, but they killed him because they said he was a criminal. So the way people see you still does have a practical impact on who you are. Or how you show up.
Without a doubt. If you miss the one thing, the spirit within, that's what caused that miss what goes in the face.
This is the thing that you all said about how the eggs and all of it. It just really struck me. I believe that whiteness is stronger as far as their unifying and blackness.
100%.
So I think the difference is, now you know I love my people, so this is hard for me to say, but I think the difference is,
It is what it is.
a white person who is on public assistance or whatever still feels white.
More superior.
They do not question their whiteness. And so when someone like Trump, who is a billionaire, does a rallying cry about whiteness, they feel a connection. Black people have stratified what blackness means.
In different
And
layers.
what it
Kamala
means.
wasn't black
And everywhere
enough.
Kamala wasn't black enough. Therefore, when we do a rally and cry for blackness, it tripped me out because just recently when, we're talking about the boycotting of Walmart and Target, what I heard people say, I had a lot of people, they coming up, they mad as hell. Y'all bougie black people don't understand that some people they live in food deserts and the Walmart is the closest thing. And what annoyed me about that is like, you really fucking think, if I'm as a black person, I don't have family that lives in food deserts, and that we can say we're going to boycott, and then we get to plan. Okay, how are we going to deal with our people in the food desert? We're going to set up food trains. We're going to give them vouchers so they can get to a further thing. We're going to
Support our black farmers.
But we're just saying that we're going to
The
boycott. But
government does
immediately,
not. They'll cut them back and still give subsidies to white farmers. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. So this is blackness narrative wasn't given by us. It was created by them. You understand? Until we get that, so we got to have these type of conversations to take it back. We don't ask for it back. We take it back by creating our own narrative.
Exactly what you said. We have to have some type of organization.
Right. We have to strategize.
we are starting tonight.
Exactly. You're talking about boycotting. Exactly what you said. Like I lived in a food desert like that at a time where I literally couldn't afford to not go to Walmart. The local grocery store, the family-owned grocery store that was there, literally every single thing. Like I was to the point where I had to count and make my list. I couldn't afford to pay $2.10 for the can of soup. I had to go to Walmart so that I could get. Yes, I did, and it wasn't just that I cared about the price of eggs. I was in a situation where
You had to.
I had no choice. Yes, I had no choice but to go to Walmart. And so when you're talking about actual organization in a way that will work, some of the things that we don't consider, how you said, we're going to have to send vouchers to rural areas like the town that I lived in. I was the 12th black person there. Nobody else is boycotting Walmart. There's 12 of us, like in the town. And I mean, even back to the talented 10th thing. To me, the reason why the talented 10th thing, quote unquote, doesn't work. So this is the theory that I just made up off the back of W.E.D. Du Bois. If you look at, like, people always want to take it back to when he said it, and it's like, oh, well, that's why we at where we at right now. But I'm like, if you look at it generationally, look at the LeBron effect. If we took the talented 10th, followed the LeBron plan, it's been 2 or 3 generations between Du Bois and LeBron. we would have been done by now. We already have whatever trillion dollars in buying power for Black Americans. That and some of it, yeah, I be wasting it too. But when I say the LeBron effect, all of them came off the same block, off the same hood. Bron was a talented tenor. His 7 homies, they wasn't hating on him. They was on his team.
He was the MVP. He's the GOAT of outside the court.
Yeah.
And that's a blue plan that we
the
can follow.
mentality of the people, to what you were saying, the mentality of his team, they were literally on his team. The dynamic was built, it was put in them, and it was put in them, this is the GOAT, we are the supporting cast. Like people all day, well, Pippen was helping you. You see how they just going back and forth. You ain't everybody that learned and was raised up and taught from day one to be on Bron's team. Every one of them winning. And because all 7 of them are winning, they have been able to impact. When you literally go down the pyramid, yes, Bron is at the top. You shouldn't have to be the top 1% of the 1% of the 1% for you to be able to have 7 dudes that stand 10 toes down behind you, that he paid for all of them grad school all the way through. He created 7 multi-million-dollar careers.
Down though, I don't think LeBron has ever had to defend his blackness.
Yes, he did. Very much. Shut up and dribble. Very much. Shut up and dribble.
White people have one of his. I'm saying too black within the black.
No, white people. That's part of what I'm saying though. Because he's the top of the top.
He absolutely
You shouldn't have to be that great as a black person for black people to deny.
Let me tell you, he was challenged because he's always put up against Jordan. You know, they divide and conquer. I'm gonna put you up against this person. I'm gonna pick this up with this person.
But Jordan is Jordan. I think that's the other thing. Like, it's okay to have a LeBron, but Jordan did his thing, and that
but see, in our culture, we still might be out here arguing and want to fight and kill each other because LeBron is better than Jordan.
We arguing LeBron versus Jordan. We arguing about
You're arguing
off the
about
court.
them as
MJ
basketball
versus
players.
what Bron done
Bron is the winner.
for the collective
It's
for
not
I'm for you.
Hey, listen, it's not a conversation, and that's the thing that's so funny because again, why is it a conversation? Mike built from Dr. J. Dr. J did from Connie and them.
Right.
Burn. So again, LeBron supposed to do what he's doing. Kobe did what he did. The saddest thing ever is what you talk about the divide and conquer. That's why when bro said what he said, I'm like, no, because our dad is back up. No, it is even our community because again, at the end of the day, guess what? You're going to question this man on something that has nothing to do with anything. His success is what he is. And what he did for our community, why not let's focus on that? Because we don't never get love to that. We don't never get love to
You
that.
have to think that you are of service to your community. I look at myself as a leader in my community. I am of service to my community.
I believe I'm of
For
service to
every
my
young
community.
person that I'm speaking to, I am giving the knowledge and what I've walked through those doors and what I've experienced to say, I'm of service to you to help you. Whether it's a 20-minute phone call, I sit and I have, literally yesterday I had a 20-minute phone call with a young black man that I met 2 years ago at a conference. He went and got his Georgetown grad school, he's moving or something. He's like, well, how do I move to this? And he reached out to me and said, hey, what are the things I can do?